Alright, welcome back, Cadwell Park. I always want to say Caldwell Park. Second time at this. Few changes from the last time here. If you have the last setup, it is similar, but it is a little bit different. This is a fun track once you get to know it. It does take some practice to learn it, and it is frustrating at first. The X's here are savage. Watch out for that. Very easy to rack them up. So I will have the setup file in the iRacing forum in the Ray FF1600 iRacing forum. So you can download it. You can do it on your own. However, warning, the garage does not like that toe in. You see that big yellow thing? Yeah, the garage does not like that. So it will be there if you want to download it. Otherwise, it will just take you a little bit of time to get it yourself. Ride height, 16 mils. There are a few curbs to go over. This will get you over them without any trouble. You might want to raise the ride height, but this will do it. ARB 0, you don't want that understeer. Damper compression, a lot of uphill and downhill braking. Damper compression, you might want to turn up a notch, perhaps if you're locking them up too easy, but I found adjusting the brake bias does take care of the situation. So brake bias, 58%, usually kind of my normal number. 59% for this track, again, just because of all the uphill and downhill braking, not wanting to lock them up. So whatever you normally use, you might want a percent or so higher than normal. Spring rates, low as they go, front and rear, grip, we need some here. Camber 1.3, it's symmetrical in the front, 1.3, that helps with the braking, it helps keep the tire temps in line and the tire wear in line. And the toe in 1.5. Again, iRacing does not like that. You need a sharp front end though. 1.4 probably isn't going to be too bad, but it's you really need a sharp pointy end here. You need that car to turn in really sharp. So 1.5 is what I suggest. Spring rates, yeah, low in the rear, low as they go. Camber 1.2, it's not symmetrical in the rear. 1.2, 1.1 on the right. Go with the higher values if you want to keep them even. Toe in the rear is 0.4, so a little bit on the higher side. Again, just to help with the braking and the tire temps to get them up into working order. And yeah, ride height in the rear just 1 mil higher than the front. ARB is 15. You do need to rotate the car here for sure, but you also don't want that back end to step out too easy because it is very easy to do with those downhill corners and uphill corners. So 10 is not going to work. You do need to get the car rotated. 20 you can try if you find that the back end isn't coming around enough. But 15 I think is kind of the sweet spot. 6 and 18 for the damper compression, that's kind of the standard. 12 liters of fuel. I am light on fuel usage typically. 13 liters will get you to the end. 14 is probably a little overkill. One thing to note though, I did find on this track, when you are down to your last lap of fuel, the car gets pretty light and pretty loose. So 13 actually might be the better way to go for the race, just to have a little extra fuel in the tank to have a little extra weight in the rear. And a big change, the first time out here I used the short stack. The short stack is fast around this track. Problem is if there is a car behind you, they are going to eat your lunch in the draft. I could not make it work. Everything you gain on the track with the short stack is lost and more in the draft with a car behind you. So standard is really where you have to be on this track. Alright, we'll go through the corners in slow-mo and then run it out at full speed. Track is 21, that's around the temp for the week. Testing is 30%. I think I'm going to keep that pretty much as a standard. That is a moderately low usage track, so it's not the best, it's not the worst. So if track conditions are a little worse, you're not going to be putting in as hot a lap, and if they're better, you might be able to squeak out a few extra tenths. So coming into turn one, fourth gear, of course, looking for the bridge, or I like to use the bridge support here as the guide myself. You want to be just grazing the grass here on the right. Turning in earlier than you think. You do not want to put a lot of input into the steering wheel for this corner. If you turn it too much, you are going to spin or lose the back end anyway. A little bit of a baby lift. You can do it without lifting once the tires are warm. However, you are going to get a bit slidey through here, and that is not necessarily quicker. You do want to get yourself over to the left-hand side here. I should have probably been a little bit more to the left. There's no great marker. There's a light stand here, this manhole cover, but basically it's just a little bit of practice and feel for this corner. There's no real great marker. Shifting down into third, getting off the gas, shifting down into third. Should have been just, as I said, a little over to the left there, a bit more. And rolling in, just managing the throttle. You do have to get onto this curb. If you don't, you're going to run wide and you're going to have to really lift to avoid the grass there. So get onto that curb. Third gear, managing the throttle, picking it up after you hit the curb, and then you want to come out as far left as you dare. If you get onto this grass, you are going to have a rough time of it. You are going to go really slow and possibly spin out. So watch out as much as you dare to the left. And then picking up the throttle again, third gear, and then just managing it as you turn into this one. And it's important to turn in here and get into the camber of this corner, and then you want again to get onto this curb. I probably could have got onto that a bit more, picking up the throttle even before that curb, just because this is a big straight here, and then running all the way out to the left. If you just graze the grasscrete here, it's okay, but if you put a full tire on there, you will get an X. It's nasty in a race, not going to matter. This is probably the biggest passing zone here, so practice defensive lines when you get to the next turn. Alright, so yeah, you may be going defensive here if there's a guy drafting off you. So looking at the one board, braking just before the one board. In real time, it actually looks like I'm kind of braking at the one board. Hard on the brakes, down into second gear. You do not want to turn in here too early. Do not turn in here too early. You can use this turn in sign as a marker. You're turning in just past it, and then releasing the brake and picking up the throttle, getting onto this curb. Watch out, these curbs here, they have this nasty lip on them. If you get into the dirt, you do get an X, and it will also grab your tire, makes it fairly unpleasant to get around this corner. So on the curb, but not over the curb. Unwind the wheel, work your way up to the gears, and again, if you get onto this green bit, you're okay, but if you get onto the grasscrete, that is an X. And then there's a kink in the track here. If there's a car in front of you, that's going to be hard to see, but you actually want to give it a good sharp little turn into this one, just to get the car turned in and going to the right. Again, grazing the grasscrete here, but do not get too greedy. And then just working your way up through the gears. On cold tires, you'd probably be lifting here a bit for the first lap or two, and then just unwinding the wheel coming out to the right. There is a access road up here, so you want to be kind of aimed up to that access road. I could have probably been a little bit more to the left, but there you go. Fourth gear, just for a short time, and then basically you're looking for the change in the track, the track patch here. Once it goes to the dark just before it, shifting down into third, just releasing the throttle, shifting down into third, getting onto this curb, and this is a very tricky corner. You do want to dab the brakes here, but you have to make sure the wheel is straight. If you have too much wheel input here, you are going to spin. And again, this one you can get over those curbs. This green stuff, you want to get onto it. It's not too disruptive for some reason. And again, just picking up the throttle nice and early, using all of the track on exit. Again, watch that grass crete. Well, there is no grass crete there. you do get an X. And then this next one coming up is going to be hard if there is a car in front of you, but basically you're looking for the track patch here and this dip in the road and braking in between them. Yeah, it'll just take a little practice and feel if there's a car in front of you. Getting onto the brakes, shifting down into second, hard on the brakes, but you have to release the brakes as you turn in. This is a very late apex as well, so be releasing the brakes, not on the brakes as you turn in. Picking up the throttle nice and early, getting onto that curb and then exiting out wide here. Again, watch that grasscrete on exit. This is a really nasty X. Very easy to pick this one up. So up into fourth, again this one, depending on the lighting conditions, I've done a few practice sessions. The shadows sometimes from the trees really make this change in the track hard to see, so just be aware of that. So at this track patch here, getting onto the brakes, down into second gear, you want to make sure you are over to the right here to open this up as much as possible. I could have even been a little bit more to the right. Oop, I had a little glitch there. And turning in, shifting down in a second, releasing those brakes. Again, another late apex. And you're looking for these posts here to really get onto the power and have the car turned in. If you get onto the grasscrete here, it is an X, and it is a bit disruptive to the car, so keep it on the curb. And then just managing the throttle. You don't want to be stomping on it as you're going over those curbs, and this one you can really get aggressive with. Keep a tire inside the white line and cut this corner as much as possible. Again, just managing the throttle there, and then exit. Over here you are probably going to catch some air. Just make sure whatever is going on, your wheel is straight in the air, because when you land you do not want to have your wheel turned. If it is turned, you are going to run into some big trouble. And then just picking up the throttle here, working your way up into third for a short time, and there is a patch here that you can get onto without getting an X. A little extra pavement here. Somebody was kind and put a little extra pavement here. Get onto that. It does make a fair bit of difference. But once you're past that, just releasing the throttle a bit, lifting a bit, and then once you get onto the curbs here, which you want to do, shifting down into second. Now this section here is kind of like, you know, the S's at Suzuka or Silverstone. If you come in too hot, you are going to be in big trouble. You're never going to get corrected. So it is important here to come in correctly, not too fast, and you want to get onto this green stuff. If you run wide here, you're compromised through the next couple of corners. So make sure you come in here correctly. Second gear still, just managing the throttle as you go through that bumpy section. Picking it up again for a short time, and this one you really, it's not going to damage your car. I have not received any damage yet, but you want to smash these posts with your tire. You don't want to go any more right than that. You will get an X. So just watch out for that. And then again, just managing the throttle, and between this post and the next, getting onto the brakes, and then shifting down into first gear. You do not want to brake too hard here, too fast. It is hilly, it's side hills, down hills. If you're too hard on the brakes too fast, it's easy to lock up, and then you're in big trouble. So getting on the brakes and releasing the brakes as you turn in. Now this curb, I think the last time out here, this curb was much more disruptive. It is not now. You can go over this curb without too much trouble at all, and it's really ideal. My cat says so too. And then using the curbs on exit again, that grasscrete is an X, so do not do that. Picking up the throttle nice and early. And then this is a bit of a tricky section here, trickier than you would think. Shifting up into second, but then just after you shift up into second, getting off the throttle. You do not want to come in here too hard. This is quite a bit downhill. Getting onto this curb, and then once you're past the curb, picking up the throttle. Nice and early. because this is another big straight, and it actually can cost you a lot of time if you are not on the throttle early here. You can easily pick up 2-3 tenths, or lose them, as it were. So really watch out for that. You got to get on the throttle early through there. Alright, so that's a 127.3. I think that's going to be a pretty decent time. Probably be some 26s, especially with the draft. So good luck out there. We'll see you on track. I'll run this out at full speed and see you next time.